Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another Adobe XD Masterclass. My name is Howard Pinsky, Senior XD Evangelist here at Adobe, and I hope you're all doing well on this Monday afternoon. That's what day it is. I do see there are some technical issues on YouTube and Behance right now on the live page on behance.net/live. It doesn't seem to be playing just yet. It hopefully will be any moment now. If you can see me in the chat, let me know in the Behance chat who you are and where you're tuning in from. Hope you're all doing well and excited about the latest round of daily creative challenges. We've got Sam and Carol and Umacorn, Henry and Jessica, Ruth, Fergie, and who else do we have? Raymond, Juan, great to see all of you. Looks like you can see us. Great. So Brett from Hamilton, Ontario, Mitchell from the UK, and Mitchell says, I've been waiting for another challenge since the last one. Me too. These are super fun. We've got someone from Dallas and Mississippi, Netherlands, Costa Rica, New York. Fantastic. And my stream hasn't updated, but all of you, looks like you can see me just fine. So we are good to go. Paco's in the house. Paco says good to go now. Thank you, Paco, for tackling whatever might have been going on behind the scenes. All right. So we're back with another set of daily creative challenges. If you were with me for the last set, we talked about mobile design. We went through a lot of different workflows and we built out many screens for a social media based application on mobile devices, specifically phones. This time around, it's all about web design. So we're shaking it up a little bit and you have a lot of time to participate. We're running these 2 weeks and then 2 weeks off. So we give you guys all some time to catch up. So how does this all work? Well, let's go ahead and hop over to my screen and I'm gonna go through this entire shindig. All right, here we go. So head on over, where is my cursor? It's here, there it is, I found it. Head on over to behance.net/challenge/XD. We've got some people from San Diego in the house, Brazil, St. Louis, another from Hamilton, Ontario, Costa Rica, South Dakota, people from all over the world. All right, so head over to behance.net/challenge/XD. You can get all the information about these daily creative challenges. There's a big blue button at the top. Go ahead and press that big blue button right over here so you're notified when new challenges are released. And we are running this set from March 1st, which is today, to March 26th. So we're going to have 2 weeks of challenges, 9 challenges in total. And right down here, insert some information. Each day you're going to receive a challenge, Monday to Friday, except the first Monday, which is today. Today's more of a welcome stream to kind of go over what this is, and I'll share some tips and tricks along the way. Then you can join us in our Discord community chat right over here. We have about 60,000 designers in Discord. That's an insane amount of people. We have 1,900 people on right now. We've got some great people from Adobe, some great mentors, and it's just a good time. Hop in there, even if you're not participating in these challenges, which I would encourage that you do. Hop in Discord, you can talk amongst fellow designers, find people to work with, ask questions, answer questions possibly. And if you are participating in the challenges, if you hop into the challenge channel right over there, you'll be able to post your work, and we have a lot of great mentors and moderators who are always giving feedback. It's a wonderful community. Hop in there, have a good time. You can also watch us live. I'm live 2 o'clock Pacific time every single day during the first 2 weeks of these challenges. We also have a lot of content all day, every day, which is amazing. Even when we're not, the Adobe folks or the guests and the hosts are not live, there are people from the community just streaming and sharing their amazing work. So, hop over to behance.net/live, enjoy the content. Finally, share your work. Again, you can share it on Discord or on Behance using the keyword XD Daily Challenge. So, down here is where all the challenges are going to unlock. Like I mentioned, we're going to have 9 in total, and they're all going to focus on web design this time. We're going to talk about creating pricing tables, sign-up forms, nested drop-downs with nested hover, which is wonderful and a lot of fun, marketing banners, I don't even know what else, a whole lot of stuff. It's going to be great. So they're all going to unlock down here starting tomorrow. The first one's going to unlock. And then down here, if you want to participate in past challenges, all the information is down here. All right, if you are brand new to Adobe XD, this is a great opportunity to dive in. These challenges start pretty basic, and I do my best to really explain all the features and all the tools and how they work. But you can also go to letsxd.com. There's a great getting started course from Danny Beaumont, which is this first link right up here. Wonderful course. Definitely go check that out. And then we have videos and articles on all the different features, including 3D transforms, scroll groups, stacks, component states, the whole 9 yards. So head on over to letsxd.com. And I should also mention, a lot of you loved the fact that during the last set of challenges, I also uploaded a video, a more polished, shortened video of the content that I went over in the live stream. And I uploaded that to YouTube, youtube.com/Howard Pinsky. I will be doing that again this time with a bit of a twist. And let me actually go ahead and hop over. This is the template for tomorrow. I'm spoiling a little bit, but it's the template for tomorrow. So there will be a link right down here. Actually, I probably shouldn't post that just yet. You might be spoiled. Don't go there yet. Wait till tomorrow. But there will be a link in the templates every single day. The videos won't be necessarily public on that day. I'm going to be spacing them out a little bit more, just so it doesn't overwhelm people. But if you download the template, you'll be able to grab the link, copy it and paste it, and watch the video, which is great. So this is kind of what the template's going to look like, a little bit of inspiration, challenge prompt, and then a nice big artboard over to the right where you can get started. But again, we're saving this for tomorrow, but we will be designing something today because we've got all this time. I'm not going to just sit here and just stare at you, or maybe I will. No? How about that? No? Okay. Let's do some designing while we're waiting for the first challenge to unlock tomorrow. All right, so let me hop over to Safari just for a second. And over on my Dribble page, I did post this a while back when 3D transforms first came out, but I do get, even today, I do get a lot of questions on how something like this can be designed in Adobe XD. And we're not going to cover this during the challenges. We will probably talk about 3D transforms a little bit, but I figured now's a good opportunity to show you all how something like this can be created in XD. So let's go ahead and hop over to, I guess you're all seeing the awkwardness of me on screen right now. So let's go ahead and hop over to XD. I'm just going to duplicate this downwards. So this is an artboard. If you're brand new to XD, we've got artboards, very similar to how you might have artboards in Illustrator and Photoshop as well. And I'm going to name this AR Experience. There we go. And what I want to do is I want to start off with a nice large image for this particular experience. So I'm going to grab my rectangle tool, drag one out across the entire artboard, right? And just so you can see it, I'll change the color to whatever that color is. And one of the really cool things about XD is that you can just drag an image directly into any shape. It could be a rectangle, it could be an ellipse, a polygon, a custom shape that you create with your pen tool. So I've got an image here from Adobe Stock. I'll just drag it directly in. You're noticing it highlights in blue, right? Boop, and it pops into place, which is great. You can also double click to access the path, or sorry, the mask, I should say, and you can enlarge it. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller, and I'll just pop it somewhere in this area here, right? There we go. Beautiful. So we have a nice large image to start off with. Now, on top of this, we might want to start adding some content. And in the example that I showed, it was cards that contained some recipes or food information. There was a button as well. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my rectangle and draw out a rectangle right about here. That looks pretty fancy, right? Snap it to the center of the document. You also have alignment and distribution options at the top right-hand corner, so you can very quickly align it to the horizontal and vertical centers of your document like that. Now, one thing I might want with this particular rectangle are nice rounded corners. So inside of a rectangle and also a polygon, you have these little tiny circles. I can just drag them in just to round out the corners. Let's try 32 pixels. And you can also do the exact same thing inside of your properties inspector to the right. You can just enter a value there, either for the entire rectangle or individual sides if you want to. I'm going to turn off the border. And what I want to do now is start putting some information inside of here. So I'm going to grab my text tool, shortcut key T, and type out something like, oops, I can't see. I'm going to change the color to a nice darker color and drag that down. Let's see, pumpkin spice latte. I miss the pumpkin spice latte. Anyone else in the chat fans of pumpkin spice lattes? Put in a pumpkin emoji in the chat if you are fans. So right now I have the typeface set at Poppins, which is a crowd favorite. Let's try Josephine Sands. Is pretty fun. It's a nice typeface, has a little bit of style to it. It works. If you want to go, I've been also using the Ross typeface. That's kind of fun. I don't know if it's necessarily going to go with this style, so I'm not going to go for that one. But Josephine Sands is pretty good. Makes it a little bit larger. Hey, Dorina, welcome. And then right below, we might want some additional information. So I'll duplicate this down. I'm simply holding down Alt-Option and dragging. And yes, it's this time of, yeah, okay. I'm going to make this smaller. This is sub information. I might want to drop the weight a little bit to maybe semi-bold. And because it's more of a fall drink, let's go for a nice reddish orange. Ooh, look at that. That's a nice color. Right about there, right? Perfect. So we've got some text looking pretty good. And maybe in this area here, we may want some additional information about, maybe how many people this recipe is for, how long it takes, how many calories, and that sort of thing. Someone says, Brett says, plain old coffee. Henry says, no pumpkin. Umacorn never had pumpkin spice latte. Oh, it's delicious. Well, it depends on where you get it from. Some of them are just, but some of them are pretty good. So what I want to do is start adding some icons and some text as well. So I'm going to go to my plugins, and your plugins panel is at the very bottom left-hand corner of your XD interface. And this is a plugin I've actually been testing out. Remove background. Fancy. It's not available yet, so don't search it, but it might be available soon, and it's pretty fancy. But the plugin that I do want to use is the Icons for Design plugin. And if you don't have plugin installed, hit the plus button at the very top right-hand corner. And if your plugins panel is completely empty, you might have a nice big blue button that asks you to install plugins. And you can go ahead and browse plugins. There's a plugin for document chat, fancy maps, which I designed live on Adobe Live, and actually during one of my master classes, and it was developed by Walter Camaro, which is a wonderful plugin, if I do say so myself. But there is a plugin called Icons for Design, and this will give you access to open source icons, which is great. So you can just type out, let's say, clock, and we might want a nice border-based icon. I'm going to drag or click and pop that in there. And maybe we might want users, right? Something like this. And then maybe, what would calorie scale maybe? Possibly. Or weight. I don't like any of those. Maybe we'll do fire, because you're burning off. Does that make sense? I don't know. It makes sense now. That icon doesn't really match though. We're gonna run with it though, because we're running with it. And then we might want maybe a star rating. Actually, you know what? I don't even need a plugin for that. What I'm going to do is, with my polygon tool, which is right here over to the left, shortcut key Y, I am going to drag one out. I can round out the corners like I mentioned earlier, but I can also create a star shape. Now, right now the sides are set to only 3. And speaking of 3, if you enter less than 3 and press return, you get a heart. Ooh, fancy, right? So let's go ahead and we're going to do 5 sides for our star, and we're going to bring this in, and we have a fun star, right? Maybe we don't need rounded corners. I don't know. We'll run with it. And we do want a nice border. So I'm going to go ahead and sample this color, which I think is just pure black. I didn't need to sample that. And then we don't need a fill. And there we go. Maybe we can increase the size of this a little bit. Wonderful. Yeah, this fire icon is just not, it's just standing out, right? Maybe, ingredients. Okay, maybe we can do like a list, right? List. And let's go ahead and grab, I don't know, this icon looks, no it doesn't. Maybe this one. Sure. They're not great, right? I'll grab that one and make it a little bit larger so it matches. And the star looks pretty good. All right, so we've got some icons looking pretty good for the most part, right? They're not perfect, but they will do. Ooh, that looks a bit better. Now, below each of these, I'm going to space them out just a little bit for now. We're going to worry about the spacing in just a moment. We might want some information. So, jars, ooh, scale or Libra scales. Yeah, there's a lot of different directions we can go with this. So let's go ahead and just type out 5 minutes, and I'll change this color to black. And I may actually want, we've got this pure black right here, and I may want to change the color across all of these icons. And this one looks like it's a little bit too thin, right? So I may want to change the color across all of these icons. What I'm able to do is, because I know that the color is the same, I can hop into my assets right down here at the bottom. This is the libraries panel, and I can add this color directly to my assets. Then I can right click, press edit, and make the change, right? It's going to push those changes to everything, which is wonderful. And we'll talk a lot more about assets during these challenges as well. So 5 minutes, that looks pretty good. Take a look, that should work. And we'll do maybe one person. And this one over here, this is going to be ingredients for Zell, and maybe 3 ingredients. Is there a short form for ingredients? That's too long. I'm gonna put ing for now. Probably doesn't make any sense. And then we'll say it's a 5-star rating because pumpkin spice lattes are life. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to, oops, I enabled 3D transforms. Don't wanna do that just yet. Not yet, we'll get there. All right, so what we're gonna be doing, and yes, Steve is mentioning, stay right here once I'm finished. We do have more streams, and we're always live, which is wonderful. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of these, and I'm going to pop them into groups, Command and Control G with these layers selected. And I can go through and name them. This is stars. I can press tab to go down to the next group. Ingredients, people, and then minutes. All right. Now, to help me align these a little bit better, ooh, items. That's probably a better idea. Thank you, Eduardo. All right, I'm gonna move this star rating over here to the right, and you're noticing as I'm dragging this around, it's helping me out. It's letting me know that right now, this star group is, oh, someone Googled it, thank you. This star group is exactly the same spacing, that's the word, from this one over here. But what you can also do, if you wanted it, let's say you wanted to line everything up between this item over here to the left and this one over to the right, is you can select all of these groups, and at the top right-hand corner, you can go ahead and press this icon right here, which is going to distribute all these items horizontally from the one in the far right to the one in the far left, right? There we go. That looks great. Now, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to be adding maybe some images of these particular items. Maybe I'll round out the corners a little bit like we did earlier. And I'm going to give you a sneak peek at repeat grids. Many of you might know exactly what a repeat grid is. Some of you may not, right? With an item selected, I'm going to hit the repeat grid button at the top right-hand corner, boop, and then drag out additional ones. You can drag out one of them, you can drag out 500 of them in either direction. Up, down, doesn't matter, right? We'll stick with 2 for now. And you can also hop over to Finder or Explorer on Windows and grab some images. I think I have a folder of coffee. I can just grab these 2 images, pop them directly into any of these cells, and it's going to populate. I'm going to put all the images in all the other cells, which is wonderful, right? So that looks pretty good. I might want to grab these items here, right over here. I'm going to pop all of these 4 items into a group, and I'll just call this info. And again, to give you a little bit of a sneak peek at some of the things that we're going to be talking about, is with this group created, I can create a stack within the Properties Inspector. And this will not only allow me to adjust the spacing in between each item, so let's say I wanted maybe 50 pixels in between each one, but I can also dive in and rearrange items. So I can just swap items very easily like that, right? Let's bump this up to maybe 62. And that looks great. All right. So one more thing we might want to add is at the bottom, we might want to add a button to actually start cooking. So with the rectangle, I'm going to draw out a nice large button right in the center. I'm going to round out the corners completely by pulling in on that handle. And let's go for a nice actionable blue. I'm just going to sample this color right here. And then on the inside, we want some text. Let's go ahead and type out, "Let's get cooking," right? Let's change the bold and change the color to white so you can see it. There we go. Perfect. Now, another thing we're going to be talking about throughout these challenges are components. And components play a huge role in your designing. And again, to give you a sneak peek, and we're going to talk a lot more about this in some of the challenges, I'm going to select both of these elements. And right at the top right-hand corner, I'm going to press the plus button beside component, or you can hop into your libraries where your colors were that I showed earlier and press the plus button beside component right over here. And I'm going to go ahead and call this button. And just like we did with the group, we can turn on a stack. We can also turn on padding. And the really cool thing about padding is it's going to look at the relationship and the distance or the padding between this text layer or any of the layers at the top and the background layer, which is the layer at the very bottom. And it's going to automatically set that padding, right? So you can hold down your S key and you can adjust your padding manually, or you can do that within the properties inspector. But if you change the words, the background automatically resizes, which is wonderful, right? Now, another cool thing about components is it lets you create additional states. We're going to talk a lot more about that during these challenges, including hover states. So I'm not going to get into that today. I don't want to overwhelm you all. But there's a lot of really cool things that we're going to look at in terms of padding and stacks and components and all these different things. Let me actually go ahead and turn off padding for now, just so I can adjust this nice and manually. There we go. Put this into place. And then maybe at the top, we might want a very quick image. So I'm going to hop over to Finder, and I do have some images here of this lovely coffee. I'm going to go ahead and drag this in, shrink it down, and pop it towards the top. All right, so we have our, let me center this, we have our card looking okay. It's not perfect, right? It's looking okay. But what I want to do now is turn this entire card into a component so that we can very easily make changes to this, and it's going to update all the other cards that we might have. So if I select all these elements here, right, inside of my layers panel, I'm going to group them all. If you want, you can also just create a component just like that, but sometimes I like grouping them, calling this card, and then pressing the plus button to create a component, right? And like I did earlier, I can turn on a stack so that I can swap all the elements if I need to, just shift them all around, and we have a stack on here as well, so you can just stacks and stacks and stacks, right? Now, one of the cool things that we added not too long ago is 3D transforms. And I have about 2 minutes left, so I'm going to show you this very quickly. I'm actually going to just duplicate one more card. It's going to be the exact same one. That is okay. And I'm going to pop both these into a group, and I'm going to call this cards. Over within my properties inspector, I have the 3D transforms button. I'm going to go ahead and press that, and I can just rotate this way and also this way. And I can also bring it forwards. I can also bring it backwards. Now you're going to notice, because there's an image back there, it's intersecting with the image. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just shift this back, this image. I'm going to shift it back, let's say about -400, just to give us some breathing room, right? And now I can grab these cards, shift these back, rotate them a little bit. Maybe one of them will be a little bit closer. This one might be the active card, right? And this one I might want to drop in opacity because that's the non-active card. And I can duplicate another one over this way. And it's, you can kind of notice it's kind of going back in space, which is, it looks really cool. Shift this over. And in the example, I did actually open this image in Photoshop and extracted these oranges and this faucet, so it creates even more depth. Joanna says, "What? That's wild, isn't it?" It's really cool stuff. And we're going to be talking about 3D transforms throughout this challenge, but very quickly, let me duplicate this artboard. I'm going to shift this one forward. I'm going to shift this one back. Move these over a little bit. Move this over. Shift it forward a bit. 100% for this one. Let's drop this to, what is this, 70%? Line up, there we go. And then what we can do, we're going to talk a lot about prototyping, but we can go ahead and click on this one. We're going to choose auto animate, ease in and out, and let's say 0.6 seconds, right? And view. Magic, right? Is 3D transforms the best thing since sliced bread? I think yes, as Eduardo says. Isn't that cool? And again, we're going to talk a lot about this stuff. Some of this stuff, if you're brand new to XD, might be going straight over your head, and that's totally fine. During the challenges starting tomorrow, we're going to really start from scratch, and we're going to talk in depth about all of this stuff. So stay tuned for that. Stick around. We've got more streams coming up right after this. Big thank you to everyone who has joined us, me, possibly, or all of us, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care, everyone.